What's up, everybody? Blake the Scholar Magic. Thanks for joining me today so much. This is a very special video. As always, this is the time where we get to look at a really awesome budget-minded deck that we've made through gameplay, and we are offering a promotion for this. This deck will be given away. It was a very popular gameplay with that video, one of the more popular ones that I've ever done by far. And so I'll put that link in there. You can make a comment on there and make a comment for this video to be eligible for this deck. I believe we exceeded about $100, but it's still fantastic. And I'm going to give you a foil Arwen. She's so beautiful. She's probably like the most expensive part of the deck. She's like $10. So she's like $10, $11. Oh, it's so beautiful too. So you guys are just going to love these cards. The deck is very powerful. It is basically enchantment and aura minded. It draws tons of cards and it also loves to proliferate. So what's the deal with Arwen? Well, she's a 3-costed legendary creature, elf noble. Arwen Mortal Queen enters the battlefield with an indestructible counter on it. Counters are really interesting because they can be multiplied in different ways. Like certain cards will enable the adding of counters, like whether they're counters that power up or add power or toughness to a creature, or they are just counters in themselves, like an indestructible counter. You also see probably other types of counters like lifelink counters, so you can get keyword counters too. But she can actually, because she's being given a counter, um, she can actually increase those numbers of indestructible counters through other cards. One of the ways I will talk about today is proliferate. So that's a big keyword for us. Proliferate means to like be able to increase any number of counters that you already have on the battlefield by 1. So having like an additional indestructible counter is really nice due to her next stage. So for 1 mana, you may remove an indestructible counter. Now that's why it's important to have another one on here, because if we lose that indestructible counter, she'll have none left and there's going to be no way to put additional ones on her. Like it's kind of one and done in that way. And we don't really necessarily want that in all circumstances. You're going to want to definitely have like a few indestructible counters on her, at least, at least one, so that one remains and she retains that indestructible counter and she retains that evasiveness. So if you remove one of these counters from Arwen, another target creature gains indestructible until end of turn. Put a 1/1 counter and a lifelink counter on that creature, and a 1/1 counter and a lifelink counter on Arwen. So she's a very special commander, and there's some weird, loopy, wacky things we do in this deck where actually having that amount of counters actually makes sense. Twitching Doll is one of those cards that makes sense to put an abundance of counters on him. Basically, your creatures are going to have like, as you go through this proliferation nature and adding a 1/1 counters on any given game, Arwen could have like 4 lifelink counters on herself. Another creature could have that many lifelink counters on itself and have like 4/1/1 counters on it, on 3 indestructible counters all at once. So she can kind of like scale up these amount of counters she has simply because she's adding so many to herself. And redundant lifelink counters aren't going to matter, but the +1/+1s do. That will make your Arwen more powerful. So Arwen is beautiful. We kind of got the rundown. She's 2/2 stats, so she's a menace to play against. Very hard to attack or block against. She can give your other creatures like indestructibility and buff them up. So she's just a menace. This is the card that we're kind of mentioning is the Pollen Bright Druid. And this one will actually proliferate upon it entering the battlefield or add the 1/1 counter, whatever you see fit. Likely in most circumstances, it's going to be the proliferate though, just because our main objective is to add indestructible counters to Arwen so that she can dish them out and get our squad and herself stronger. And here's Enchantress Presence as well. So this is very cool, obviously. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. So fantastic. Anytime that we cast an enchantment spell of any sort, we will simply draw a card. And there is a lot of, like I said, cards in this deck that will make Arwen more imposing than our enchantments. It will give her keywords that will basically, end up trying to win by commander damage, or 21 commander damage is kind of like our sweet spot. If we can kind of accrue that on our opponents, we'll definitely be doing the thing. Enchantress Presence is just going to draw so many cards for us, and you're going to love to draw cards in these colors too, because all of them, the mana cost of things are quite small. There's nothing like over really 5 CMC in this deck, so you're just going to be like spell slinging in the Selesnya. You're going to be drawing tons of cards, and just having a card that is an enchantment itself, so it will trigger some of our other creatures that love to see enchantments. It also will love to see other enchantments be played as well or casted, and we'll draw from them. So that's fantastic. So there's our little draw engine here. Here's the deck. So bum, 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 bum. And we'll kind of get this right there. So now the vibes that I went for this particular deck is a Season of Growth deck. So there's quite a bit of auras in this deck, and what are great about auras, they don't necessarily say target, but when they are basically, you attach them to a creature of yours that would meet the requisite of being casting a spell that targets a creature, and we will draw. So this is an enchantment itself. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. That's great. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. Fantastic, and it's an enchantment itself. So really, kind of like the juice, the mega juice is the Light Pause. And Light Pause is an incredible 2 mana creature. Fox Advisor. Whenever an aura enters the battlefield under your control, if you cast it, you may search your library for an aura card with mana value less than or equal to that aura and with a different name than each aura you control. Put that card onto the battlefield attached to Light Pause, and Bird's Voice, then shuffle. So this is just going to give us an incentive to play aura cards. We'll basically, how I'd probably see this look, if we didn't have Light Pause out, like in starting to contribute by attacking or blocking, we'd probably be using our toolbox to find like things like Shelter by Ghosts. So at the very least, if we suited up Light Pause with like a 2 mana aura, for instance, maybe give it flying or something, or get it juiced up. At the very least, we could start removing some of our opponent's things and making her evasive at the same time. So that'd be like a really nice kind of little action. It might get you the victory, by removing maybe a problematic creature or flyer that's in the way of Arwen. We could kind of get the Light Pause, cooking and producing through that toolbox. Shelter by Ghost is a aura basically that will remove a non-land permanent, by the way, and we'll get there. Okay, so here's Griff's Boon. This is just going to be the things that help us make Arwen a little more evasive, as you would say, and they just work with our deck. They're going to help us draw cards like with Season of Growth and Enchantress Presence. These 1 mana spells are worth their weight in gold because they're simply going to make Arwen, scale up in the way that she can start getting in without being blocked. And that's going to be really huge for us. So Griff's Boon is a really nice card. And you can also return that from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's really cool. And it will be attached immediately. Evershriek's Gift is from Lauren, and that's also one that can be returned from the graveyard. So you have a little bit of longevity for whatever reason. It's like, okay, but we just love the flying, and it's just 1 mana aura. It's just great. Angelic Gift is also that one where you actually will draw. It's a little more expensive, but you'll draw off of it entering the battlefield. So that's really nice. That this kind of replaces itself. And here's Sage's Reverie. So that was also one I thought, let's kind of give this one a chance. I just kind of like the idea that it would just, draw a bunch of cards for our auras, and then it gets a little bit. It's kind of like a what would you say? Well, we'll get to it. All the glitters, where it just kind of pumps up your creature. I thought it was going to get flying for a moment. That would be really cool if it did. So I did kind of clump that up mistakenly, but still a really cool card. It definitely wants to see us having auras on the battlefield, and we'll draw from them. Feather of Flight is the one I'm still getting on. I've been kind of working through those because of the Bartolome decks. And by the way, we are giving that one away on April 12th, a Sunday. So make sure you go back to those and make some comments if you haven't already to be eligible for that $200 deck giveaway. So we have a lot of deck giveaways going on right now. And I feel like a 3-week pause is pretty good. So, we're at the end of March now. So I guess at the end of April, we'll give this one away. So we'll just kind of line those up. And Tycho will be coming as well at 750. So I'm pretty sure all these are going to line up. And we're going to have a really cool little session again where we're just giving away a couple decks all at once. So we kind of got a couple things going on. Some people floated some ideas for the 1,000 subscribers, like maybe a juiced up Aragorn deck, maybe a Sauron deck, even we were we did uh Tessa Karlov. She's beautiful. I love her. So let me know what you guys are thinking for the Thou Wow. The Thou Wow. You know it. So we had Feather of Flight. That will draw a card as well. It's just like the Angelic Gift. So very redundant card draw for auras. And the flying is what's really the win con here. Flying or trample is very good, giving Arwen. So she's not simply just chumped, like the trample damage will go over, or she's just flying over everything and just getting in for that Voltron. Audacity is beautiful. This obviously is very similar to Rancor, which we will also be running as well. Rune of Might is beautiful because it gives trample and a card. So we just freaking love it. Yeah, it's a 1/1 buff and trample and draw a card. Like, so sick. Cetesian Training is the similar thing to Rune of Might. Again, when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. 1/0 trample. Let's go. And then Rancor. I need to get that one too, guys. So I was just ready to fire the trigger. So let me know if that's cool. I know you guys are excited. I'm very excited. Oh, I bought this thing immediately. That was the kind of the gimmick of my last video. Like, I bought this deck immediately. I really did. I built it and then I hit the purchase button. I was like, let's go. It's very exciting. Very cool deck. Ethereal Armor, this is just like in standard right now, but it'll give your creature 1/1 and first strike. I mean, these are like the less impressive ones for me, but they're still cool. And they're still going to be drawing like Season of Growth. All the glitters similarly, like they're cool. I think I flubbed in one of the Rusco matches that we did the gameplay for because I thought that I could, with the Light Pause, I could attach an aura to Light Pause and we can attach that aura to any other creature. So I fetched up into all the glitters instead of a shelter by ghost, and we probably would have won the game if we found a sheltered. But Light Pause was pretty juiced there for a second. Shard Mage Rescue, nice little protection spell, so you just love to see that as well. And it is an aura, so you can do that instant speed for flash to protect it, give an enchantment creature hexproof, which is nice. Shelter by ghost, lovely. Aura, $5 aura, probably one of our more expensive auras in the deck, but we'll also give your creature War 2 and 1/0 buff and lifelink, and you get to exile any non-land permanent an opponent controls until Shelter by Ghost leaves the battlefield. Any non-land permanent. Kenris Transformation, you might even in certain circumstances like juice up one of your creatures to give them a little buff, like a 3/3 buff, and but anyways, whether you hit one of your opponent's creatures or not, you're going to draw from this. And it is an aura, so it can hit your own things or your opponent's things. Very interesting card for the deck. Ordeal of Nylea is also just like a really interesting, like kind of accelerator. It's going to work really well with like our Shaj Chocobos or Optimistic Scavengers, like those 1/1 creatures that kind of just scale up really fast as 1-drops, and they kind of would help us ramp. So we just love to see it, and it is an aura. Could just win us the game in some circumstances. Thirsting Roots will help you proliferate. So now we're in the proliferate section. So those are our auras. We have more enchantments, but I thought it was important to kind of go over the proliferates next. And these are just the cards that either will have a function like a function other than proliferate, but usually we're going to use it for the proliferate. I think you should just go ahead and proliferate. If you have, like, for instance, 1 mana left and you're kind of indecisive, well, I'm have a good grip of cards, should I proliferate now or later? Just go ahead and exercise your mana, get as many Arwen indestructible counters at once. Just start proliferating. Don't be cute. Just like, you're going to have so many cards in this deck. Just start getting the proliferates going. You're really going to want those, especially for your Arwen indestructible counters to like be ready and suited. So Metastatic Evangel, whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, proliferate. Insane. Insane card from MH3. Any non-token creature enters, proliferate. This thing's going to trigger a bunch of times. It's really strong. Watley's Raptor is a 1/of proliferate. It's fine. Grateful Apparition is like that repeatable proliferate. So as it does combat damage, we will simply proliferate. It's a very evasive flyer, very strong. Cankerbloom is that very cool, like kind of Rex Sage, as you would say. But people are wondering, like, why hasn't this taken over as like the new Rex Sage? I mean, it's basically the same thing in a way. I mean, except that it would basically die, right? So you have to sacrifice this thing, but it is a 3/2 as a 2-drop. You can, for one, destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or proliferate. Probably going to be using it for proliferate, but I have used it for those other modes, so it's very cool. Bloated Contaminator also is that just really awesome. Repeatable proliferator as it does combat damage, has trample and toxic. So your opponents can start getting toxiced out, as you'd say. This is like the best, I would say, like proliferate engine we have in the deck because it can ramp, it can proliferate the turn it comes down, it can draw cards. It is so very good. This is probably our like second or third most expensive card in the deck, but it is really good. Staff completion is amazing. Evolution Sage, also a very good proliferator, so we love to see it. And that's as lands enter the battlefield, you're just going to start proliferating. This thing ends games like real fast. If you want to isolate a player, you can kill them really fast, because you're simply going to be proliferating and getting this strong along with Arwen, and they scale up together. Here is the Contagious Forak. And this one is also just like kind of a one-up proliferate, or you can fetch up a land. It's like kind of it's up to you, so it's up to you to get that land from the top four, or go ahead and proliferate. So it's nice. Here's Loading Zone from EOE. This one is really nasty for us because we have so many creatures that when they see enchantments like enter the battlefield, we just draw gas. So, or for casting. So, this is just a 1 mana thing. And you know what's crazy about this is that this would like double up on our Arwen proliferate. If we were like went into a warp, a loading zone into Arwen, she would. It's because it's any kind of counters. Twice that many are put on her on for the turn. So yeah, you could just warp this in, and then Arwen could slam down, and that indestructible counter is put on her when she enters. So she would already have 2 indestructible counters, and that's a massive, guys. Like this video. Are we gonna get to 100 likes? Are we going to do it again? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Sit this Harvest Hand. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Fantastic. Yeah, this is like the real juice here, guys, because it's an enchantment creature itself. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain a life and draw a card. That's so busted. Satyr Enchanter. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, draw a card. Fantastic. Core Spirit Dancer. Whenever you cast an aura spell, you may draw a card, and it gets 2/2 for each aura attached to it. Busted. Setessan Champion. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put in 1 counter on Setessan Champion and draw a card. Absolutely busted. SRAM Edificer. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. Busted. Here's Mikey and Leo, because I just treated you guys to this Mikey and Leo action today. So there you go. So make sure you comment about whatever you're doing in your life. Whenever you put a counter on a creature you control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. That's fantastic. We can do that during our opponent's turns as well. We're just going to be putting counters on stuff. It doesn't even have to say itself, like the his alternative Dust Legion Duelist, which is kind of similar. So this could be any creature that we have, and then we will draw for a counter, like a 1/1 counter being put on something, a lifelink counter being put on something. A Dust Legion Duelist. Whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on a Dust Legion Duelist, but it has to be this particular card. Draw a card, still fine, once a turn. Here's Deodrine, and this could be a very sweet producer of tokens for us and card draw, and we are fine with removing a couple 1/1 counters from things. For a robot and a drawing a card, yes, we will do that. And this thing is just a cool scaler. It just kind of gets really strong really fast. Especially with like our hardened scales and our conclave mentors. We'll get to that. Haliod's Pilgrim, very cool little 3-mana tutor card. This is going to toot up a aura for you. Let's do it, baby. For 3 mana, we'd love to see it. Very cool toolbox for us. Pearl Ear Imperial Advisor. This thing is absolutely busted, right? For 3 mana, you get a 3/4 lifelinker. Enchantment spells you cast have affinity for auras. That's crazy. They cost 1 less to cast for each aura you control. Whenever you cast an aura spell that targets a modified permanent you control, you draw a card? What? Exemplar of Light. Flying. Whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Whenever you put 1 or more 1/1 counters on this creature, draw a card. This ability triggers only once a turn. Fantastic. Really, really insane card for all the life link we got going on. Okay. So we've come to like the second win con that are not auras. So this is like the things like, well, we have flying. We have trample. Now we want to have double strike. And Erdon is that the guy that like puts counters on things, and if your creature has 2 or more counters, he will target one of your attacking creatures for that turn whenever you attack. And if it has 2 or more 1/1 counters out, that single creature will get double strike. So that's what we want. We want Arwen to have double strikes. We have a really cool saga here, very underrated saga here, Origin of Spider-Man. What a beauty here. Token, 1/1 counter on chapter 3, target creature you control gains double strike until end of turn. Fantastic. Guide of Souls. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under control, you gain life and get energy. Whenever you attack, you may pay 3 energy. When you do, put 2/1 counters on a flying counter and a flying counter on target attacking creature. It becomes an angel in addition to its other types. So yeah, we're going to get flying to Arwen. We're going to have lots of creatures enter the battlefield, and that's going to be probably GG most of the time for somebody. I thought Eidolon was a cool enchantment creature because whenever this creature or another enchantment you control enters, a target creature will have base power 4/4. So this will increase Arwen's power by 2 and toughness by 2, no matter what. And it will still see the counters. So it just stacks up 2/2 for Arwen and goes for flying. It's fantastic. Here's Shah's Chocobo. These are like our little beaters in the 1-drop. They just scale up with like lands entering the battlefield, which is nice. And they're just kind of like help rein in some of these auras like Ordeal and Nylea to kind of give it an extra boosty. Similarly, Optimistic Scavenger. Whenever enchantment you control enters, whenever you fully unlock a room, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. It could be itself or Arwen that we are kind of buffing up. And here's Hardened Scales, just a nice enchantment. If 1 or more 1/1 counters would be put on a creature you control, that many plus 1/1 counters are put on it instead. So it just adds an additional 1/1 counter as we put a 1/1 counter on things. How that would look at the very baseline, instead of Arwen giving like herself up to 3 power 3 toughness after the exchange of an indestructible counter, she would go to 4/4, and the other creature would get a +2/+2 buff at a baseline. Similarly, Conclave Mentor is a creature. This is very similar to Mikey Weirdness to 11, except it doesn't create a counter when it enters the battlefield. And also, when a Conclave Mentor dies, you gain life equal to its power, which is different than Mikey Weirdness to 11. So no mutagen token, but still the same really powerful effect. Branching Evolution will actually put twice as many 1/1 counters on things as we put 1/1 counters on things. So that if we're putting more than 1/1 counter at once, we can start actually putting twice that many counters on something instead, which is really cool verbiage. Here's Skrell Deflector Mite, and this will actually give protection to one of our creatures. It works very well with Erdon because we can still target our creature with, like, for instance, if we're doing that. It's just simply it does give hexproof. How have I done this one before? I've done it before correctly. I always get stuck on Skrelly, like with the Erdon thing. Another target creature controls against Toxic 1 and Hexproof from that color until end of turn. Oh, it's Hexproof. Not Shroud, not Protection, Hexproof. So we can still target Arwen. For instance, with Erdon, it's a white creature. We can, basically give protection to white if we had to, or hexproof from white, and we could still target with Erdon, Arwen, and still have it have the double strike and swing in unopposed through white creatures, which would be very cool. Because it simply cannot be blocked by creatures that color until end of turn. It's a hexproof for a little snidgy snadgy there. And very interesting, the Skrelv does that. It's not like a Giver of Runes, because those do straight up protection, and you wouldn't be able to do the Erdon double strike thing. So there's that. Destiny Spinner is really nice kind of evasion as well. It just kind of acts as that Cavern of Souls. Creature enchantment spells you control can't be countered, and it's enchantment creature itself, so it does a lot of that triggering for us. Here's our little rampies. So we have Utopia Sprawl. Just will target a forest, and we can start producing extra mana. Jukai Naturalist is that nice little reduction in cost, right? So enchantment spells you cast 1 less to cast. It is enchantment creature itself. It's just gas. Earthbender's Ascension. Yeah, you're going to get one of these today. You know it. And we do have like a good amount of budget lands, like, Terramorph Expanse, Evolving Wilds. We have the lands from New Capenna. So you're just going to love the Earthbender Ascension. It's just going to be a nice way to ramp and then start giving Arwen trample as more lands enter the battlefield. It's fantastic. Here's Fenrir, just a really nice like enchantment creature. Search your library for land. And when in chapter 2, you get a little buff, and then you can draw a card if you control the creature with the greatest power, tie for the greatest power. Very nice. Here's a soul ring for like little, acceleration. Avacyn's Pilgrim, Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elf. Incubation Druid's a nice one because if we put any sort of counter on here, it's going to start producing 3 mana of any type of color. Um, it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful for us. Green is so busted. All right, this is the one. Okay, so Twitching Doll. This is like the real juice, right? So we've been talking about like counters and stuff in general, and like I said, you're just gonna find that your creatures are gonna have like 8+ counters. They're gonna have like 4 lifelink counters and 4/1/1 counters on them because Arwen is just dishing these counters and we're proliferating all over the place. This one's interesting because it will start to accrue counters, and proliferate is good, right? Because we can start proliferating those counters, these nest counters, upon making mana. Then sacrifice Twitching Doll, create a 2/2 green spider creature token with reach for each counter on Twitching Doll. Each counter. So if this thing has like 15 counters on it, you're going to create 15 2/2 green spiders. And then what are your opponents going to do then? What are they going to do? You're going to just win. Here's Aragorn, and Aragorn is a perfect example of the Twitching Doll like phenomena. Because what Aragorn does is like whenever you put counters on Aragorn, he'll put those total amount of counters of each of those kinds onto another target creature. So if you have a Twitching Doll and an Aragorn, you're just buffing up Aragorn, and he's putting his counters on Twitching Doll. And it's like a very harmonious thing going on. I just love Aragorn. I like was trying to figure out what the hell do people love about this card so much. I was like, well, why don't you just like read it? There must be something cool. Yeah, it's cool because like you're accruing the counters, you're making your other things strong while you're making it strong. I like Aragorn a lot for this deck. Very cool. Thanks guys for like kind of always insisting on that card. Like I saw it in the comments a lot as I've been making this deck, and I'm like, I don't know, like, am I missing something? Yeah, I was definitely missing something. Rampant Growth. Search your library for a basic land card, put that card into the battlefield tapped and shuffle. And here's a little graveyard interaction. These will also scale with counters as well, so you just love this stuff. Lion Sash, fantastic. Just love it. Hitting the graveyard is so nasty. Scavenging Ooze will also do this. Love the Scavenging Ooze. Love the Lion Sash. They're definitely underrated cards. Probably been reprinted. The Scavenging Ooze for sure. Right? Maybe its price is lower, but it's a phenomenal card. It hits the graveyard so well. Reclamation Sage. This is whenever this creature enters, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment, just because it's just a nice effect. So we have like a little bit of interaction there for sure. Okay, everybody, we're in the close now. So Karn's Bastion, add colorless or 4 and a tap, proliferate. Restless Parry, just a nice man land. You love to see it. Dual lands are here. So you got a variety of dual lands. Got some multi-modality lands here, like Razor Grash and Bridgeworks Battle. Disciple of Release is fantastic. Draws a bunch of cards on one of our high-power creatures. Very good gas up. Arcan for that really cool little token creature there. You get a Lair of Hydra. That could be like a really cool little scaler too. Start putting counters on your Lair of the Hydra. Start getting it really strong. Broker's Hideout is very cool. Just will fetch up the forest or plains. Similarly, Cabaretti Courtyard will give you that forest or plains in life. They have a nice little search for the Evolving Wilds for you. I love you guys. Terramorphic Expanse, love to see it. Escape Tunnel, like a strict upgrade on Evolving Wilds, because it could like make a creature power 2 or less, can't be blocked. If you really need to do something like that, and then like powered up as combat goes on. Then you have these nice little Dustmorn planes, and I spoil you guys again. I did have to put some pizza lands in here, but I couldn't. It's just because I didn't have so many foily, Dustmore lands. But maybe you could like get there. So I did give a couple of these, because I did put them up in a bundle. But I would definitely hook up the Dustmore and try to get like 2 more Dustmore lands in here, and you'll be having a matching set of beautiful full art Dustmorn lands. Oh baby! But I'll give you a little foily pizza land and another little pizza land in the meantime. That's foily too, man. Those look nice. All right, all right. So everybody, this was the deck. Let's get Arwen on the top. Where's she at? There she is. And I appreciate y'all for joining me today. Shoot this one to the moon as always. I appreciate y'all. These videos have been doing so well. I'm so excited. I could do this for days, guys. I'm budgetizing. I've traded in a lot of cards at the LGS, so be ready for more budgetizing and more deck giveaways. Let me know if you're excited for like Marchesa, Aragorn, Tevel, or maybe the Tessa deck. Tessa Karlov, but she's very expensive. Like I put a money symbol on there because like to build her, I think you need a little dough. She's kind of a money girl. But this was a very nice, seamless one to make. So let me know if you guys love it. All right, guys. I'll see y'all later. Bye bye.